sweet and sour sweet feeling in the sense that I'm glad to have everyone like as the last official module. I'm always excited to talk about what we want to talk about, but I'm always also like, this is actually becoming over. I'm also thankful for that, to be honest. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have worked together in the last couple of months. Maybe before I start speaking, I want to throw the questions first to you guys. This is our official last module, although for your own cohort, for the first time, we are doing like an hangout, a post stuff and virtual hangout thing that I think you guys agreed for a date yesterday. I was the one that made the suggestion that we should do that because I felt that it would be a good thing to have a session that is not focused on anything, in the sense that it's not like I'm under the sense that I have to talk about, mindset or marriage. It can be a place where, based on everything that we've done, you can then come have like heart-to-heart conversations, questions, and things like that. So we're going to talk about that later. But just because this is the last official module, I thought that it would be good to hear from you guys. How has this been for you? And I want you to answer that question in two ways. First is the sense of how has this been for you? Second is also a bit of when you were coming into this, what was your hope? What were you hoping it does? And eventually, what has your experience been like based on whatever you were hoping? Do we quite get that question? And this time around, I don't think I want chat. I actually want us to use to unmute yourself is what I wanted to use. But first of all, did you get my question? Did the question make sense? I need feedback if you understood my question. Okay, now that I'm not getting a response, I'm wondering if I'm still here. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Adeke. So who wants to go first? How's this been for you? What was your hope like and what has been your experience like? Like when I see this, I mean the entire mentoring program, the live sessions, the assignments and stuff like that. How's this been for you?
All right, thank you, ma. Good evening, ma, and good evening, everyone.
Who is
I
speaking?
hope I didn't
Oh,
hear
Adeke. Okay, good. Yes. If you could please raise hand so I'm able to call you and know who's speaking. Thank you. Adeke, you can go. You
Oh,
can continue for now.
all right, ma. Thank you very much, ma. I would say my expectations at the beginning. I don't know. Am I audible enough? I
Yes,
believe
you are.
so. My expectations at the beginning of the mentorship circle were was majorly to have someone to know how I'm living my life because I know that I'm someone that has a lot of potential and I'm also very spontaneous, which can be dangerous if there's no caution to that. So I just wanted a little bit of supervision in my life and I wanted to also evaluate where I think it was okay and to also see life from another perspective and I wanted to embrace something new. This is my first time being in mentorship circle. So I really wanted a community of women that also desire to go. And what did I get? So I think we're dealing with what I other persons what I got. What did I get? I mean, I did not expect it to be like this. And that's in a good way because I did not expect that the emerging women circle would force me to think because I'm a get up and go girl. I don't like to sit down and think. And and so far, all the assignments, even the all the sessions, there is a way that they force you literally to pause and to think, like, where are you going? What are you doing? Like, just calm down and think about what you are doing. Think about what you are thinking about. Think about your life, what you are actually doing because there's a way that you can just be tempted to be on autopilot and you're just doing and you're not reflecting, and at the end of the day, when the pressure of end of the year reflection comes, because that's how I feel. When the whole end of the year reflection now comes and everybody's saying, "Oh, how was your 2026?" Me, I just avoid it totally. Like you will not put me in depression mode. I beg, let's move. So I think this one helps to make it better because I've learned that okay, don't wait till the end of the year. Break it down, reflect, and think about what you're actually doing and why you are doing what you are doing, what you believe, and what you can do about it. So thank you very much, Ma. It has been great so far.
Thank you, Adenike. That was really good. And I love the think about what you're thinking about part. It makes a lot of sense to me. And you know that thing you're saying about how towards the end of the year people will start doing end of the year reflection and all of that. Why I smiled is what it reminds me of something I usually think about in the fact that how you know that your end of reflection is even being done well is that at your end of reflection, how do I say this? There's a way I want to say what I want to say. More like your end of reflection is supposed to be a combination putting together of all of the reflections you have had over the years. It's not supposed to be something where you're not trying to say, oh, so how did the year go? Is that it's should be more of that kind of thing where you are putting together reflections, not that you are making it for the first time. If you understand what I mean, please let me know. In the sense that and that's why I always find it funny when people say they want to do an end of year reflection and they just think they're going to sit down and they start thinking, no, it doesn't work like that. That's why generally for me, one of the first things I do when I enter into my reflections is actually to go over my journal. Because through my journal, there's been a lot of reflections. I can see the way I was thinking in January, do you understand? In February and all of that. That is still that sort of give me a sense, almost like this data-driven, putting things together kind of reflection. That is not just you really reflecting on December and November, whereas you think you are doing the whole year, because that's where your mind can remember. That was the most recent experience that you are calling your whole year, that kind of thing. But yeah, thank you for sharing. Who wants to go next? I just have a few minutes to do this.
Good evening, Ma.
Hi, Muturayo.
Good evening, Ma. How are you doing, Ma? Thank you so much for the opportunity this evening. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me just start like this by saying that I have been looking forward to having this kind of opportunity with you. Let me say since 2023. I think I met you in one of your program in Ibadan that year. So, and since that time, even there was a time I tried to reach out because then I was at one stage in my life that I'm trying to struggle to balance my career, my marital life, and my normal life. So it was a really struggle for me that time. So that time I was trying to reach out to you because let me say I see you as my role model from afar. Yeah. So when I saw this program, I did not hesitate to apply. It has been a truly life-changing experience for me. Like I have gained a lot of valuable insights about balancing life, marriage, finances, and a lot. I could remember there was one of the class that I need to watch, but I could not attend that day, but I went back to YouTube to watch it. Where you are talking about that we can be more, that you should not limit yourself, that this is all that you know, that you can be more than this. And that thing has been a life-changing experience for me because I do tell myself that, Musra, this is not all of you. No, you have a lot of things inside of you. This is not all of you. Like that teaching, I cannot forget it. And let me just say thank you for creating such an impactful platform. And I'm sincerely grateful for the opportunity, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Motorayo. And it's nice to actually finally have you. I'm actually a little bit curious. Maybe you could chat me directly on WhatsApp. You have my number within the group, but chat directly on WhatsApp. Curious about times we have met because you said you have met. I'm trying to remember where we have. Maybe to give me a bit more context. Some of the things.
Yes, that Oak program in Ibadan. We had the program around that Jericho.
Yes. If it was around Jericho, then it's probably one of either a BP. No, it cannot be a BP. He has to. It wasn't countdown to capital. So I'm thinking it's probably the National Nigerian Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. Those are,
I
that,
think
yes,
so.
of those two. And if you say it's 2023, it has to be that. That's really exciting to know that, we move from a different way of related through one foundation to this place. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words too. I truly, truly appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Musarayo. Anyone else wants to go next? Who wants to go next? I want to give like 2 more people opportunities and we're going to move.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Marvelous.
Yes, I'm sorry for not responding to the first question. Apparently, I was trying to chat, but my Zoom chat was not coming up, so I could not respond.
It's weird.
Yeah, so the question, I think I'll start from what's it called? What were my expectations? So I was part of the 16 emerging women awardee last year. So at that time, I think I was just looking more for clarity, for guidance. And I think over the month, I've been able to find what I was looking for. I think Titus chapter 2 really explains it better to me, where it says something about the older women guiding the younger women. So I think I was just looking for that guidance. So I was looking for a mentorship that was going to provide guidance. And I think that in a way, this mentorship sessions, I apologize, I've actually provided guidance. I think I missed one because I was busy in school. But for the other ones that I've attended, I think that it has either done three things. So the certain core values I had, that it has reinforced, it has strengthened, and I think that's quite important to consistently strengthen one's core value. I think that the relationship part, especially when it came to friendship, there was the second session that we had a very long conversation on friendship, and then you sent follow-up resources. That was very much me. Like every single thing that we talked about in friendships, and reflecting as at then and now, the friendships, especially my female friendships, I think they've really blossomed better compared to the person I was at that time. So that was like very, very important to me because I wanted to like grow in my female friendships more. I think that it has also reduce my fears when it comes to certain things, especially relationship with the opposite gender. The question that Ruth asked with regards to like the definition of submission and everything. I remember I was spreading clothes when I heard that definition, or especially when you use the class captain scenario. And it just brought light. And I think that it really dispelled fear because I really felt this old churchy submission thing is just it's just not it in my head, but the insights that I've gotten really have been very helpful. I think, and this is on my own part, I think I did not maximize the peer mentorship. No, I think it's peer mentorship where you have a
Yes.
mentor.
Yes.
I think that I personally did not maximize that well. I think I only reached out to her when we were asked that we reached out to a peer mentor. So on my own part, that's what I'm important. But to be honest, it's been a very, very not just good experience, but it's been a guiding experience. The guidance was what I was looking for. So thank you very much, ma'am. And then yes, connecting with other persons, I did really like reach out to other mentees to connect with them. So maybe that one too for me. But overall, it's been a good experience.
Thank you, Marvelous. First of all, I'm going to start with the peer mentorship. What you need to remember is that the peer mentorship actually does not end with this. The reason why you are put in touch with them is that you can continue your relationship with them. Actually, many people always do. They just take up it's just that it's now out of our own purview. You take up the relationship and you take it wherever you want it to go. That's first. Second is I should probably say you speak really clearly, like you speak like someone who has a sense of what they want to say and deliver it quickly. I think that's a really great skill that you should own if you have not paid attention to it. I want to believe you have already. I think I always remember your name from LinkedIn because I see your writings too. I think you speak as clearly as you write, and I think it's really you're a professional event company. You are in the right, you're already on the right track because I think you speak really clearly, which I think is amazing. Well done. There are a number of other things we're going to say. Oh, the friendship thing. I smiled because in my head, I'm like, if you found that very useful, then you will be extremely excited about the Emerging Women Summit coming up that is going to double as you guys' graduation. I'll speak about that in a minute. So you really be excited about that, what we want to focus on for that particular summit. But thank you so much. Part of the things you also mentioned was the connection between mentees, our goal was to use that group to do that. And that's why we're always having that Friday community, but we weren't sure how well that worked. And hopefully we might have other ways of doing it as time goes. Maybe we'll also connect mentees. Maybe I should even use this as an opportunity for a feedback. Would you think it would be an amazing to also try to peer mentees the way we peer you with mentors? Maybe you have someone who's like an accountability partner, a friend, your emerging circle friend or something like that. What do you guys think about that idea? Please use the chat. Let me know if it's something that you think might be useful for subsequent thoughts. Yes. If there's a defined meeting, exactly. Yes, exactly. It will be a defined meeting. The goal will be ensure that you meet each other once a week or something like that. But we'll let the mentees run it themselves. Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's part of the reason why we put a number of mentees with one peer mentor. The plan is that because you work together with one peer mentor and you meet the peer mentors together, you're also able to connect together. But yes, anyway, we'll put all of that into consideration going forward. Thank you. One last person, and then we're gonna move. One last person.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening, Immaculata. First of all, I wanted to, as you're telling your name, I remembered that I wanted to commend you concerning your assignment, your last assignment. I feel like your assignment was probably the most detailed. It looks as if you really thought through. It felt like someone who was thinking through the things that they were writing. It was very detailed. It was very deep. I saw that the action point, there was an action point you said you were going to take about your mom and all of that, that I thought was
Yes,
really,
ma.
yes. I wanted to commend you on that. Well done. You can go ahead
Thank you
now.
so much, ma. Thank you, ma. So I wanted to start with or something that happened recently that just made me know that this has been very okay. I didn't see the impact of what these sessions have been doing to me. So I was speaking to somebody and I said, Holy Spirit, give me language. And I was like, where did I learn this from? Where did I learn this from? So I just thought about it that it's obviously from these calls. And I just want to thank you so much for the sessions that we've had. Personally, for me, it has been it has been encouraging because when I registered for this cohort, it was just for me to just come and try at being consistent at something because before, like I usually start things and then I'll just stop halfway. So I was like, this one, I'm going to be committed to it and I'm going to see it through to the end. And that was one of the reasons why I started this. And I'm grateful to God that I'm here at the last like session. And also one of the things that was on my mind when I was registering was that I was like in a very funny place at that time, a bit sad and just trying to go through the things that were happening. Like, in fact, good things were happening, but I was not seeing them because I was not focusing on the right things. So joining this mentorship really showed me like things to focus on that would help me even in my growth and in being thankful of the things that God is doing. So the class we had on meaning, I can never forget because it helps me settle down and calm down because I was thinking that meaning is like you find meaning through the things you do. But that just helped me see that it's not just about the things you do, but what you are becoming in the process. And that has shifted my focus. In fact, I'm more focused like right now than when I registered for this mentorship. And I'm really grateful for that. And thank you. I pray that subsequent cohorts will be better than this one. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you so much, Immaculata. That was such a good one. Thank you. I know I said I was going to be the last, but it keeps coming to my mind that I want to hear from Adirin Sola. Hi, Adirin Sola. Can you speak? Are you in a
Hello,
place where...
ma.
Hi. First of all, you look really good. I'm looking at your thumbnail pic, and it's really
Oh,
pretty.
thank you.
Your name
Yeah.
just kept calling to me as someone I wanted to hear from.
Oh, okay, no problem, ma. I was a bit distracted. I got on the call, but I guess we're talking about how the mentorship session has been.
Yes, yes. That's what...
For me, it has really been liberating.
Mm.
It has really been liberating. My core expectation when I joined, when I filled I told my peer mentor that I probably was the last person to fill the form. It was the day of the deadline. I think some hours before the deadline that I was like, let me just put in, let me just fill the form out. So my drive then was, I just felt like there were many things in my life that were not adding up. I was completely overwhelmed last year, and I just needed a safe space where I could hear God through people. I don't know if that makes sense. Like not hear God from directly from, but I just needed the word in a, in a different forum. So I joined, and it's been really liberating. I think I'll just use the word liberating because there's been a lot of paradigm shifts, many things that I didn't know that I'm getting to know. My favorite module so far has been the first one about the mindset. Meaning, rather, meaning is the
Meaning.
first one, yeah. So everything ties back to meaning for me. Everything we do ties back to meaning. Everything we do. I'm newly married as well, so I found the marriage model very, very helpful because there are many myths, myths, and ideologies I had about marriage that they were not they were not that nice. Like right now, I still struggle with cooking. I struggle with many things. I feel like, oh, as a Gen Z wife, like, why would I be doing all these things? I'm not being productive. Blah. I feel like, yeah, God is working on me. God is working on my mind. And yeah, it's been really great. Thank you so much, ma.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adrian, for that. Like, I'm actually glad I called on you. First of all, I needed to laugh about the old Gen Z wife thing. Like, seeing Gen Z and wife in the same thing. The reality of that, especially the conception of both words, it sort of makes it really. And to be honest, I really think that usually, yes, usually, probably your first 1 to 3 years of marriage will be actually a lot of work of dispelling myths.
Mm,
I'm telling you, there will
mm.
be many things you have heard that marriage is like that you now realize that no, this thing cannot be true. Like, yeah, I even till now, they were in a way, there are still things I still feel like I'm dispelling. Like I know now. What are yes, it's not true. This thing people are saying is not true. And I think it's the reason why it keeps boiling down again to this thing of understanding that yes, there are generic things that are always true regardless. But even those generic things need to be passed through the reality of the uniqueness of your journey under God.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes,
So it's always, like you said, it ties back to that meaning thing, understanding that you're on the journey with God, a custom design journey. And custom design does not mean that they are not things that are foundation, regardless of who you are. If you are a godly person, of course, you don't steal. Do you understand? There are some things
yes,
that are,
ma.
but the reality of how some of those things will show up for you, we actually have a lot to do with the unique life that God has called you to. And that unique life includes, it includes everything, including the things you
Mm,
do and all of that. So I feel like half of the work is reclaiming your own design. And I
mm,
use that word reclaiming because eventually that's what it will feel like. It's not necessarily just even discovering, but reclaiming. It's like you are removing something it has always been there. It's not as if you are trying to produce it. It's that you are reclaiming that this is who I am. And you become more and more confident in it. You
yes,
grow
ma.
more and more confident in it. So I'm really excited to hear that. And the last thing I wanted to say, because I heard a number of people saying something in line with that. Many people were looking for mentorship. I like the way Marvelous said it when she was using the titles to, I think it should be verse 4, that was talking about older women mentoring younger women. And honestly, if you ask me, I see the work of mentoring as a part of my life, not as a program. I have been actively involved in what looks like mentoring for as long as I can remember. Before I started making programs, trust me, before I started doing programs like this was just a way to extend it a little bit beyond my closest circle. Some of you probably got this link to someone that I don't even know it was. You probably don't know me before or anything like that. So doing program was a way of reaching people who probably would not be in my immediate circle. The work of mentoring, it's a work that yeah, it's just a work that I feel that I see as I want to say second nature, but I don't mean it in a way that I'm good at it. Do you understand? I mean it in a way that I think of it as a normal part of my life. And why is it important for me to say that? You know why it's important? Because, oh wait, first of all, maybe it's not even just why is it important for me to say that. It's more of how did I become that way? Every time I think about it, and I probably have written that in one in a long time ago, I used to talk about how my undergraduate was the time of my life where I had mentors. We didn't call it all those names then. To be honest, we didn't have all of these mentors, and that's why when people call me their mentor, the word still does me somehow. I just use that word because I don't have choice. I just see it as I see it as having people around you who, yeah, I like the word gone ahead of you, but even that language can connote as if they have it figured out. So you want to just go and learn what they have figured out. But the truth is, I think of mentorship as an hand in hand thing. And that's why there is a way that you can even provide mentorship for people who are even probably your age group or anything like that. And you also can receive from people, regardless of who they are, what their age is, and all of that. Why I'm saying this is that I love the scripture that it was Marvelous that shared that with us when she was speaking. I hope that more and more people we embrace the idea of sharing of your life. Is that the way to say it? Yes. Sharing of your life, of your lessons, and of the truth that you have found to really be truth. I hope more and more, just women, people, we embrace it as a second nature of their life. That we don't even need to have programs like this. Does that make sense? That it will be part of your life. Because I realized looking back, when I was particularly my undergrad years, I had people who did for me these things that I'm doing. So it was almost just like you have received, you just have to pass along for me. So it didn't come with all of this special, I'm trying to create mentorship. Yeah, all of this name was just things I had to use so that the people who are coming in can have a sense of what they are looking for. I have been privileged to have, older friends and things like that who, I, particularly my undergrad years, I was able to go to, with questions, watch their own lives, see their examples. I have mentors right now who I keep seeing their examples. There are people who I can go to with questions and things like that. And I just think that having that kind of space around you, I think the word that, I don't know who used that word. I think it was, I don't know that I used that word, that kind of safe space is a thing that we should both cultivate around ourselves and we also should give to others. What I'm saying is, I don't need you to feel like you have it figured out to think that you can contribute to the people around you. That's what I'm saying to you. The first person, the first person who officially used the word mentor for me, who officially asked me, we don't even call it mentor, the word she used was deeper than that. If you're from my conservative Christian circles, like when I was like IVC in the UI, we use discipler. That one is deeper. If people that know what I'm talking about. The first person that asked me to be a discipler, I remember that day that word carried so much weight that it really scared me. I just told her, I'm sorry. just leave me. But with time, I began to see that it's really just a baton thing, knowing that as you are receiving baton, you are passing baton. As you are receiving wisdom, you are passing wisdom. And you don't need to have programs. There are many people around you right now. There are many people, younger people, even and I won't say younger people because it's always easier in our head to think that it's better to mentor younger. But the truth is that you'll be surprised that age has very little to do with this thing. There are many people who don't have access to the kind of wisdom that have become common to you. Let me say that again. There are many people who don't have access to the kind of wisdom that has become common to you. This is one thing I'm finding again and again, that because you have been raised in certain circles where certain wisdoms are common, and do you understand? You have a sense of what to do on certain, like a sense of value, way to approach life, priorities, and things like that. don't make the assumption that everybody that you meet in life is like that. And that's why your work is to try to ensure that everywhere you go, you are able to not just receive wisdom, but also pass wisdom down. You don't need you don't need the program. Just carry it as a lifestyle. And that was something that was really on my heart to say that I want you to think of yourself not just as a receiver of wisdom, but also as a dispenser of it. Wherever you are right now, there's someone around you, regardless of who they are, their age or whatever, who probably will benefit from the things, the wisdom that you have learned, the truth that you have come to know, the values that have been inculcated in you. Who you sharing that with them will make a lot of difference. And it doesn't have to always be through coordinated platforms like this. It's just a lifestyle thing. It's really just a lifestyle thing. Really just a lifestyle thing. Such that, every one person you meet, every two persons you meet, everywhere you enter, there's just that sense of ensuring that you give something there too. You show someone something. Do you understand? I hope you guys heard me. I didn't plan to talk about it. That was really on my heart to also share that. Thank you so much for everyone who have shared. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please let me know if you guys heard what I wanted you to hear. Reply me in the chat. Does what I said make sense to you? Please respond to me in the chat so I'm able to know. Because my whole point is, as much as you have received there, I also want you to commit to ensuring that you also give. That's the heart of all I'm saying. That's the heart of all I'm saying. And it doesn't have to be through coordinated platforms. And yes, even through coordinated platforms, many of you are probably going to ask you again to be peer mentors for our next cohort. We'll be happy to. We always have the previous cohort helping with peer mentorship for the new cohort. And in case our application for the new cohort will open after the Emerging Women Summit, the IW. We always do the Emerging Women Summit around the IW. So there's Emerging Women Conference, which is the one that we do live, usually in Ibadan. The summit is just an IW. The summit, we do it around the time of International Women's Day. So that is coming up, and that's what is going to double both as your own graduation and also as the unveiling of the 16 emerging women of 2026. And if there's anyone that you would like to be inside this emerging women cohort for next year, the easiest way to bring them in is to nominate them for the award, because everyone who gets into the award gets an automatic slot into the circle without having to apply anymore. So cheapest way possible to bring them in is that. And I know that the award ends today. So please ensure that you do that. All right. As our focus for today, the reason why I'm taking my time like this, why I prefer to do this, because part of my goal will still be to give you the video of the last cohort where we talked about service. But what I really should choose to divest others in indirect and direct ways. Yes, marvelous. Amazing. Yes. I'm even telling you that, honestly, you don't even need platforms. I'm telling you, it's a lifestyle. This thing is a real lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. What I'm saying is you don't even, yes, use LinkedIn, use all of these things. But I'm saying that you don't even need to feel like you need LinkedIn to do it. I'm saying on your daily basis, as you stay with people, as you pass along on the road, and the kind of things you do and don't do, the things you choose and don't choose, can already be ways of passing wisdom to others. Let me give you a quick example. There's something I want to say, and I'm going to say it carefully, but this is recorded, but it's fine. We keep it within the circle. One of the things I always ask God for every time I get an opportunity. An opportunity means, maybe I got a fellowship, because I've done a number of those things in the past, Mandela Washington Fellowship, a work fellowship, all of those kind of things, an opportunity, scholarship. I remember I went for YPB one time. I went for one program with Lagos Business School, all of this. You know what I mean by all these opportunities, right? One of the biggest things is you guys to be responding so that you can let me know that you are hearing me. You know what I mean by all of these kind of opportunities. Someone should confirm, because I'm also kind of conscious of my internet. So if I'm not getting response, it makes me wonder if you guys have lost me or not. So you know the kind of opportunities I'm talking about, this kind of fellowships and things like that that we usually do. Lagos Business. How many of you know these Lagos Business School programs, all those kind of things? Yes, okay. One of the biggest things that is always on my heart, yes, thank you. One of the biggest things that is always on my heart is, which is funny because I've probably only said this out loud to a very few people. One of the biggest things that is always on my heart when I go for those kind of opportunities is actually not the opportunities themselves. It's the people. And as I'm seeing it, I realize now that, thank you, God, that what I'm seeing is already tying into what I wanted to teach in service. You will see why soon. One of the biggest things that is always on my heart when I go for this opportunity is not just the, yes, I want the fellowships and I want the whatever enjoyment, whatever. When I say enjoyment, I mean the learnings and all of that. But one of the biggest things that is always on my heart is the people. I'm telling you, it's the people. There's just always a sense of how, almost like a prayer in my heart, to be able to leave a mark of truth, a mark of righteousness, a mark of the right things, the right values, the right thinking upon the people that I'm going to meet in that fellowship or in that opportunity or in that scholarship or in that. It's such a thing for me. And there was a day I was looking back and I realized that God has always honored that prayer all the time. Somehow I get an opportunity to do that, sometimes very directly, sometimes maybe a little bit indirectly, that I get to know later. And I'll give you examples. In fact, how do I say this to you guys? For most of my fellowships that I've attended, most, maybe not all, most of my fellowships, I have always come out of it with somebody. I don't know if you understand, with a relationship with somebody that evolve into a friendship, a bit of discipleship, where I'm able to then much more be like a righteous, good, I don't even know what word, a godly influence to them. And I can give you many examples. Like, in fact, I remember that okay, many of it, I don't know who is Ebere. Ebere's what's her son name? Can you please remind me of Ebere's son name? Ebere's is anybody that is Ebere's mentee here? Because I think she should be part of our peer mentors. I'm not sure, but I think she is. Or she used to be in one of the previous board. I met Ebere in a fellowship, a virtual fellowship. Myself and Ebere have never seen ever before, ever. Onwhere, exactly. That's her son name. Exactly. We've met, see, today, myself and Ebere have never seen. We met in a virtual fellowship that Feladuro to it. And for some reason, I can't remember what I did that just made her, for whatever reason, she just was. And to me, I think it's a response to prayer, because in my heart, I know that at the heart of everything, human beings, the souls of human beings, is the most important. So I go into everything knowing that. Do you understand? I go into everything knowing that the biggest part of my service is actually spreading God's way, God's thinking. Do you understand? That sense of truth in the lives of human beings like myself. As it's spreading in my soul, it's also spreading through me. I can give you multiple examples. For people who were at what's the name? At Highly Productive Summit. Promise is one of my very good friends right now. Like, I was, in fact, part of the reason why I could not do this last weekend, aside from the fact that it was Valentine, was also because myself and my husband had like a bit of a double date with Promise and her husband. And I met Promise in a fellowship. I went, and I remember when I was going, there was just a strong sense about the person who was going to be my roommate in my spirit, to the point that I had a strong sense to pray about that person. Like, Lord, I have a sense that whoever this person is going to be, this person, there's going to be a way that our lives will become so interwoven. And I really prayed about it. I remember, I can give you different examples like that, different examples. I remember that there was one fellowship we went for like that, where one of the fellows had to come and meet me later, that there was something that I did that she was so surprised that people still do that because it was something right, but not convenient. Do you understand? I don't want to give the example. Like it was something right, but it was not convenient. So she was like, someone with such integrity and all of that. And it's part of the reason why she's still within my circle today. The point is, it's been something, the idea of this spreading the truth that you are finding does not always have to be in this very formal, I want to create a program for young women, I want to write daily on LinkedIn. The question I'm asking is that the immediate people you are meeting on the daily basis, how are you already, I don't want to use that word influence because sometimes even that word is somehow nowadays, but how are you already making a difference in their lives? Before you do 20, you want to do 20 mentorship for 20 women, what about your own nieces? How have you deliberately impacted them? What about your younger sister? Have you sat her down before to have some of those conversations with her directly? Do you have those conversations? I have an annual, I have what we call an annual family meeting with my nieces and nephews, where we spend like what am I saying? No, Elizabeth is here. She was at the last one because she's family to me now. Elizabeth will say, how many hours did we spend? Is she still here? Is Elizabeth still here? Yes, she is. Elizabeth Yemi is here. Yes. I can't remember how many hours we spent last time. It's not up to like 5 or 6 hours. And we do that every time if I'm in Nigeria in December and we're all going to my mom's place. We do that where we take a matter, and I usually know what matter to take because I'm also tracing and paying attention to the growth of their lives. As much as I'm putting them all together, I'm also having this conversation with them individually. Because I will not be doing this with you guys when I'm not also deliberately doing it with the people that are the closest to me. In fact, I want this one I'm doing with you guys to be an overflow out of that one. Do you understand? That's what I'm trying to say, that I don't want mentorship to be the idea of mentorship and, which is really about spreading the right thinking, spreading the right influence and all of that. I don't want it to be something that needs a lot of program and packaging and all of that for you. I want it to be second nature to you. Where as you are going on the road, on the street every day, you're asking yourself, you are seeing people and you are wondering in your heart, how can you on a daily basis and the little ways that you can do that same thing? Does that make sense? Sorry, I need to take water. Love that, Oluwaseun. That's what I'm saying. Make it a lifestyle. It's like eating is your lifestyle. Yeah, there are days you do fine dining and you do all of that. But if there's fine dining or there's not, you can eat your food, right? If there's nice plate or there's not, if it's inside pot, you eat it like that. Exactly, because eating is second nature. That's what I want to think about this thing. Because one of the things I'm also saying is that because we have made all of this programmatic approach to some of these things, many of us have limited our ability to do them, to being able to create all of, do them on this platform, do them in all of these very programmatic ways, but you don't need them. That's what I'm saying. Even if you get to do them on a programmatic sense, let them be an outflow of something you have already in lifestyle. That's my point. Let it be a lifestyle. Let it be that everywhere you go, there's a flavor of the right way of living, right way of doing things, of thinking that you leave behind on the people that you work with. And it's real. And this thing is real. And that's actually how you know that you're growing, because you can see a pattern. I remember when I was 7, I served in 14 now? I think, 14. It's been a while. My God. I served in 2014. And I remember that one of those meetings, I served in the Ministry of Mineral Resources in Bayelsa. And Bayelsa is an oil company producing state. I didn't realize what that meant, even though I knew about it geologically as a geologist. But what it meant in this real social world was that they have money. And it means that whenever the governor is meeting people from the state, the oil producing states, they are always giving money in cash, envelope, hard currency. And I remember that our office was one of the hosting, part of the office that was hosting that particular meeting. They were meeting with community chiefs from all of those places. Basically, there was money involved. They were going to give them money. And I didn't even know that. All I knew first was I was upstairs with all of the core members. And somebody called me and told me that our permanent secretary was calling me. And then I came downstairs. And then the first thing he told me is, I called you out of all of those people because I have watched you. And I know that there was a way he said, I can't remember the exact one, something like, I know that you are a person of integrity. I can trust you. Follow me. That's what he said. They didn't even tell me why they called me. They just told me my family, and that's what he told me. Like, I know you're a person of integrity. I can trust you. So follow me. That was the first time I was seeing millions of naira in currency, because the work was to put all of the different. They had maybe like 10 million in cash sitting right in front of us. The work of the few people that they called was to put it in maybe 15,000, 10,000. Very ridiculous work. But it's good. Why it called me was because it was like, I knew that I can call you, you have integrity, I can put this thing in your hand and I know you will not steal it. And it's funny because it's not that myself and him have ever had any reason. The point is, there's a way that you will act that, you understand, it leaves that sense everywhere you go. That's what I want you to do. That's what mentorship really is. The mentorship is not this thing I'm saying. What makes this thing I'm saying powerful, that you probably will see if you have been doing this, is that my life and the things I say, they align. If they don't, there'll be an emptiness to it. That's just the truth. There'll be an emptiness to it. There'll be an emptiness. So it's a lifestyle of living that way and just spreading it by just the force of your life. Yeah. Anyway, let me go right into my talk. And to be honest, I really just want to talk today. I really just want to talk today. Our module is a module of multiplication. Our module is a module of multiplication. Is the module where I'm coming. Let me share my screen, but I'm not using this today, if I'm being honest. I'm not using this today. My work is basically, we're talking about service. I'm about multiplication. And we're going to share the video from last year. I'm just going to talk about a few things that are on my heart. I've asked you guys this question. Your Cohort 3 graduation is here, and we're doing, this should be the Emerging Women Summit 2026, 2025. Oh, this was the old flyer. I apologize for that. Apologies. This was the old flyer. Our new one is actually Emerging Women, the IWD. We do have a summit around the IWD, but this year we're going to be doing the 21st of March. We're letting you know first, but we're going to share more details later. And like I was saying to someone, anybody excited about to know what the theme of the summit is going to be? Because the summit is going to double as 3 things. The summit itself, where we do an IWD conversation, your own graduation, and then the revealing of the next cohort, the cohort of the 16 emerging women. Yes. What apologies are you accepting? Okay. Apologies about I'm so sorry. It should have been the new one. Anyway, yes. Anybody excited about what we are talking about this year? So, anybody excited? Trust me, by the time I tell you, you'll be. So even if you don't know yet, you have to be excited. So I'm waiting for the excitement before I reveal it to you. Our team for our Emerging Women IW Summit this year. He says she's excited and eager. Only 3 people have answered me out of 19. People should not try me. This boy is here. 1 minute, please. Okay, so I have more excitement in the house. Thank you. So our theme for this year is actually Awesome Sisterhood, and our tagline is navigating adult friendships and relationships. And that's why I was saying to Marvelous the other time that you'll probably be excited. I for the first time, I felt like it was a worthy thing to make the entire summit focused on. Okay, Olamide say thank you, God. Did you pray for that? Because yeah, it was a very funny thing that happened to me concerning this. Like, it was a very funny thing that really happened to me about it. Because normally that kind of thing is not a kind of thing I will build a summit around. It probably be a side conversation. But when it started coming to my heart, what it started with was that I saw it more as a conversation with like a big sister, something like that. And I had someone in my mind, someone who is actually my own sister, but a little bit more twist, she's going to be my sister-in-law. And my sister and my sister-in-law, we are hoping that she's going to be on the panel session with me. And the reason why I had her on mind was a number of things. First of all, I've been able to navigate wonderful relationship with my in-laws, my sister-in-laws, like really beautiful relationship. Like sometimes it's almost unbelievable. Like I can't even lie. It's really unbelievable for me sometimes. And I've also watched her being someone who sort of has a very good handle on relationships. And I'm like, this is something I've seen a lot of people struggle about. And I remember I was sharing with Kendi, like, I'm not sure what to title this thing. And one day, I think a couple of days ago, it just occurred, it just came to me. I was like, yes, it's about sisterhood. And it's about how to navigate, this kind of sister friends, this adult relationship. And that's what I'm calling adult relationship and friendship, because there's friendship, there's other relationships too that are adult relationships. And you guys already know that adult relationship is tricky, can be really, really tricky. So imagine that we're doing a full-blown summit just on that. And I'm really excited. And initially, I was struggling at first to say, is that good? Yes, it's tricky and frustrated. I was wondering in my heart, is that good enough for an International Women's Day event? That's the question I was in my head. Like, International Women's Day, we like to see all of these. We want to progress together, all those kind of things. But it occurred to me that, honestly, can we progress together if we cannot even company together? Can we? Can we build things together if we don't even know how to navigate our friendships? How can we go places together and do great things together and encourage each other if we don't even know how to build our own relationships first? And as someone who has benefited a lot from the weight of relationships, I genuinely want to see more and more of us learn how to navigate it, because it's hard. Trust me, it's hard. And I just said I have beautiful relationship with my sister-in-law. You would think it's because it's all those. No. In fact, what makes it beautiful for me is that for some reason, we've been able to find ways to navigate even tricky conversations. Very tricky conversations. There was a family meeting we had last year. That was a very tricky family meeting because some things were happening. And I remember leaving that meeting feeling like, no, I have the best sisters, because we were able to trash issues out in a very mature, everybody left feeling closer way. And I'm like, no, this thing that we have to share it with the world. Because it's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. It is. So yeah, that's that. Hope you have nominated someone for the 15 emerging women. That's I already told you I should do that. And basically, my conversation on service, what I'm calling multiplication, is really, to be honest, I don't think I should use this slide, because I just want to really say what is in my heart. But let me just use this part of the slide. Because my goal, one of the important things I want to do here, is to tie everything that we have done up until now together. So look at this place. Maybe this is the only important one I'm going to use in this slide. And I'm going to stop the slide and I'll just share from my heart going forward. We've spoken about a lot of things getting to this point, and I want to bring them all together. You guys will see how many of the things keep taking us back to meaning, because everything comes back to that. It comes back to, so when I'm saying meaning, I'm talking about that sense of your full person, your journey, your purpose, how you see the person God made you to be evolving. And then, of course, that tied us then straight into mindset, because how God makes you to be is designed to function within certain operating system. A fish is supposed to live in water. A monkey is supposed to live on the tree. If you take a monkey into water, the monkey will struggle, not because anything is wrong with the monkey, but because it's not in the environment that's supposed to be. That's how mindset is like. It's like the operating system, the operating environment in which your meaning flourishes. For you to be able to live out, the way God intended you to live out, there are certain kind of mindsets that hinders that. There are certain kind of mindsets that helps that. Do you understand? So it's really understanding that mindset is just it's an operating system. And then we begin to talk about mastery, which is what I think Moshone was trying to talk about. I think it should be that particular session that she was talking about when she was giving her feedback, where we're beginning to talk about really developing and expressing your capacity in line of your being. Something came to my heart to share, and I'm wondering if I should. I don't know, should I do this? Okay. I thought something when we were teaching mastery. Let me just try to see if I can do it. There's something I thought, or maybe I should ask you this way first. I need one or two people to share with me, probably by unmuting your mic. That would be faster. What stood out for you in this session about mastery? There's a reason I'm asking. I want to share something that sounds a bit like a testimony, but because I want to use it to re-emphasize something with you guys. Anyone who had, Bashu was what we're talking about, all of those things about capacity and productivity and ability to vision. If you remember, visionary capacity, productivity, how to execute, why all of those things are important. Anyone wants to share something that maybe stood out from that capacity conversation with me? I'm hoping someone will probably remember something I'm trying to share. Anyone? Please, could you use the maybe raise hand button so I'm able to see you? Or I'm just going to call someone. Okay, since I'm not seeing anyone volunteer and I don't spend a lot of time on this, Favor Benjamin, you are the one coming to my mind to call. Because I think that day, it seemed as if that session was really good for you. And I'm trying to remember what stayed with you. Favor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I
Okay,
wasn't expecting my name. Good evening. Good evening, ma'am.
evening.
Okay. Okay. Let me just say one thing that stood out for me, even though I have my notes, and I don't think I'm start opening my notes to start checking things that I noted down. But one thing that stood out for me that also I think you repeated in the HPS program was you mentioned something how that people who are really, really, really occupied, yeah, who have a lot of work to do, are much more, they're less overwhelmed compared to people who have less to do. Now, less to do in terms of different capacities. There are people, you gave examples of, I remember you made an example of, imagine DDK. It's possible that DDK is actually less overwhelmed compared to people who are not doing as much as DDK and they claim to be overwhelmed. And one of the corrections you made to make that easy was having to okay, let me just give an example, just the way you did. You said in the HPS summit, you mentioned something how that clarity is one of the ways to make that work out well. You talked about how that many times we have a lot of work in our head and we've not actually sat down to bring clarity, possibly even categorize what's the things that are surrounded or things that are overwhelming us and categorizing them, placing them according to priority and putting or directing the right energy to each of them. Um, you gave an example of work. You talked about business. I think that one stood out for me too. How that many of us have people that are working with us, but yeah, we complain about how inefficient they are, and we are overwhelmed with doing everything ourselves at the end of the day. You have people working for you, but then you are doing everything again yourself, basically because you have not stated clearly to those people working for you what they ought to do, their roles, and make it very clear so they understand what they are in for, what they are doing, and your expectations are clear, and then they deliver. So even if they're not delivering at 100%, there is a large percentage that they know what they are meant to do. There is clarity, and then you have the right to expectation. You have the right to have expectations from them because you already made your expectations clear from day one.
Yeah.
So for me, I took that because I've always known what I wanted to work out in my head, but I never actually stated it clearly. So I had people just doing things, and then I wasn't even, I had this show in my head, but it was not clear to them. And by God's grace, I've been able to implement that, and it's working clearly right now for me. I'm less overwhelmed. Within the time we did the mastery class and then the HPS, so the HPS kind of just, amplified what you had said in the mastery class. And that's one thing out of other things that stood out for me.
Thank you. Someone who was hesitant at first, you literally just gave us a blown master class. that's so good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Favor, for sharing. I want to, because I promised there was going to be two people. Can I have one more person share one thing that stood out for them? There's a reason I'm asking. Because I want to tell you to do something that recently happened to me. That sort of remind me of some of the things I was teaching a lot in mastery because I was experiencing it myself again. Anyone else? Ruth, do you want to try? Can Ruth hear me? Okay, I'm not sure she can hear me. Can I have, I'm trying to see who I should have. Sheil. I've not heard your voice in a while, so let me have Sheil. Oluwa Sheil. We don't have two Sheils now, so it'll be one person. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, Ma. Good evening. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Promise, I can see your hand, so I'll maybe let you go after Sheil. But Sheil, I'm going to give you just a minute.
All right. Yeah. So, a major take home for me from that mastery class was moving from, the major takeouts really, the summary of it for me was, or two summaries. But one is that moving from, I know this is what I should do. I have a vision to actually being the person that brings it to life, right? And an action point that I took from there was where we talked about you don't have to wait for an opportunity to find you. Go and find, like, put yourself. I remember the example you gave of the cable, yeah, pitching yourself there. So not waiting necessarily for that exposure. You do it. And yeah, it has an action point because I have started that to, creating that. I didn't wait for someone to say, okay, come and do this. And yeah, it's been great. So I think that's a major summary for me from that.
Thank you. Thank you. So basically, I was saying it in the summit as you ask yourself, what's new? What is the new way I'm seeing myself, and just go and act it out. And then you look for, you push for opportunities that align with the way you're seeing yourself. It's more of really executing on what you're saying. Thank you for sharing that. Promise, I saw your hand, so it seemed as if you wanted to say something. I can give you
Yes,
minutes to do that.
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So one of the lessons that stuck with me when you taught us mastery was the part you said that mastery is not just being effective at a particular task, that you are able to carry the effectiveness of your personal person, like your being, in all areas. For instance, I remember you were telling us the example. I can't remember the example exactly, but I'll try and use myself as a case study in the sense of, okay, I'm a teacher by profession and I'm always this person that loves to do things at the right time. Okay, let's do this, let's do that at the same time. So I saw that it's not just the fact that I'm up and doing in that aspect alone does not make me a masterful person. But the fact that as long as I'm up and doing in that field, in every other field as well, I am carrying that same effectiveness, that same productiveness to every single thing that I do. So it's not about just the tax in itself, but the kind of person that I am, bringing my very kind of person into every activity I get to involve in. So that was one of the lessons that stuck with me, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I think Makulata was already also sharing, being a masterful person. I'm really glad you guys really remember some of this thing we talked about. And for you to even remember some of the language show that they really stuck with. I'm really excited about that. One of the things I shared at the pulling out some of the things I think people have said. One of the things I shared the one I really wanted to on into that I want to give you guys an example of is probably a lot more related to the one that Shane was sharing. The thing about you see yourself in a way, and your productivity and execution and the way you push yourself for opportunities, you begin to align yourself in that direction. And I remember that I think maybe I shared the decable thing also here when I was talking about mastery. I'm not sure, but I remember I shared it in HPS. And actually, the interesting thing is that particularly in the last, so this is February, right? This is towards the end of February. In the last 7 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks, literally this year, I have seen this thing that I'm teaching at levels that has blown my mind. And I'm not kidding. Like, it's always beautiful to see that this thing I'm saying to people is not a lie. It's not a lie. It's true. This thing works. Because remember when I told you guys how hopefully it was here, I also said it, how I got into the cable, how I started to write policy briefs and things like that. I came into a point, I started to see that do you understand what kind of person I am? And I realized that, okay, my work in education is not just to be an education researcher. It was to be someone who is an education reformer that have national conversations and things like that. That led me to go and pitch myself to the cable. The same thing, that literal same thing happened to me again, but in a whole different dimension in January. One of the things that got sent to me at the beginning of the year was that, yes, I have earned my skills, my knowledge, advocacy and policy, particularly policy advocacy and things like that through my work at the cable, the work I had done with IGET over the last 4 years. And there was just a sense of a next level in my heart, like there's a next level. And the question I started asking myself is that, how am I seeing myself now? And how do I hack that out? What are the kind of opportunities that align with the way I'm seeing myself now? And how do I go after them? And one of the things that became clear to me, it had become clear to me for a while, but I was still, not like I was dealing, I was just still looking out for the opportunity, where will I find them and all of that, was that I needed to enter into the actual policy rooms inside Nigeria. Particularly Nigeria was really big on my mind. Inside Nigeria, that is not just that I'm doing policy advocacy on the cable, but I'm entering into the places where the people who have the ear of the government are. And one of the things that felt clear to me as far back as last year was, it just got clear to me that, oh my God, one of the big policy programs that is done in Nigeria, if you know about this, is the Nigeria Economic Summit. How many people know the Nigeria Economic Summit? It's done year in, year out. The president comes. Many of the policies that eventually are recommended, like the policies that come out of that meeting, are directly recommended to the presidency. Like those places are places where you actually have the years of the presidency. And the NES is run by NESG, Nigeria Economic Summit Group. So I've been asking myself, I need to do something with NESG, but I've been telling myself, I know there was time they were doing a fellowship that they do for like mid-level people that just sounded perfect for me. But they only run that fellowship one and they never ran it again. So I've been looking at their website again and again for some time, but I just still kept. But the beginning of this year, it just got clear in my spirit that this is the year that I don't know how or why or where, but whatever it takes, I must enter into NASD this year. It just got clear to me that, yes, I have done a lot of policy advocacy work. Now I need to pull all of those skills together into the place where it's not just me that is putting it on the cable and hoping that somebody sees it, somebody that can act it, but I am carrying it to the places that already have their ears. Do you get the difference? Long story cut short, went for visionary retreat with DDK, and I remember that I'd already made the decision because I remember that DDK is my mentor. She's like she's actually like my mommy and all of that. So it became clear in my heart that, okay, I think the way into NESG is no longer waiting for their fellowship, because it doesn't look as if they are going to do this fellowship again. I need someone who can recommend me to someone inside. So I remember that I had a conversation with DDK at the event. I was like, Mama, I'm coming to you with one request this year, because I knew that she's going to have like connections within those spaces, because she's also into public policy. And then we had this conversation, we had another conversation about something that she's trying to do around policy making, which is also another big deal, that I then began to realize how our interests align, and we're already having we started some conversations about it, which hopefully that one also pans out. But I just know it was so big. It was such a big deal on my heart, and my heart is because I can see myself and meet these people, I must enter and meet these people. That was all I thought that, okay, I would. My plan was, I already had a conversation with her. I was going to send her an email to now really fully explain, can you connect me with someone in NESG and all of that. That same day, there had been somebody inside that retreat that, that's this story I'm saying is very funny. He had spoken, he had said things, I knew he was working around policy and all of that. But do you understand? I really didn't know him. And I put his name on LinkedIn, so I saw the work he was doing. He works with Elevate Africa. I don't know how many of you know Elevate Africa. Elevate Africa is a fellowship that is run by Olori and the warrior of the king of Warri. People know them. People know them online, that kind of thing. But there was nothing about him that tells me that he was someone I was looking for, right? Evolve, they do all of these things. So I went to have a conversation, but I remember that I was going to sit, and I just heard it in my spirit. People told me, go and talk to him, and just, rub minds, like, he's in policy, you're in policy, so I'm just telling some of your interests. And I walked up to this man, and I was like, how are you doing? And funny enough, while we were having a conversation, a good conversation, there was something I wanted to not see at first. There was an insight that got clear to me in this kind, this kind of setting where people are sharing and all of that. But something that got clear to me that I thought was just for myself. By saying the people told me to share that. And when I shared, everybody was just wowed and blown away by it for reasons I don't understand. But yeah. So when I went to meet him, that thing I said that earlier, had made him recognize my face. So he was thanking me again, like, oh, that thing you said that time was so powerful, well done. So it made my conversation not look like I was being, the kind of thing where you're trying to be a fan and all of that, right? You see how everything is lined up. So I think he was able to hear me, not as someone that was trying to be like a fan of a celebrity. Do you get? And then I started to talk like, oh, I do this work, I do some of these things. I'm really interested in, public policy around these areas and all of that. And I saw that you're working around some of these things too. Like you were talking about one of your projects. Can you tell me more about that? And then started to talk and all of that. And for some reason, it just came to my heart to talk about the whole NESG thing. You guys will not believe. You genuinely will not believe. This man turned out to be the chairman of the National Economic Summit for this year. It took composure for me not to shout. He just mentioned it, like, yeah, oh, you're interested in NESG? Oh my God, oh, yeah, I'm the chairman for, I want to scream. I wanted to compose myself, like, Toyin, just calm down, don't throw your rep in the gutter. I was like, oh, wow, that I've been looking forward to opportunities to work with NESG and all of that. I saw their fellowship. So I told him something that he knows that I've been following the work. He was like, no problem, not at all. And they gave me someone's number right there, gave me a number, said, chat this person up, tell them person you are from me. Long story culture that I'm speaking to you right now, you guys have attended like maybe 4 NESG meetings already, where they are planning National Economic Summit for this year already. Like the thing blows my mind. It's not even just that. It's not even just how these things happen. It's how turns out I enter into the policy. Initially, I enter as a volunteer. Then all of the things have just been back to back. Then I'm already inside their policy commission, the education policy commission. I got in there. I discovered that they are supposed to have 5 thematic groups. Only 4 is working. Guess the 5th one that has not been working because for whatever reason, maybe they've not found someone to help them with it. Tertiary education, the very thing I've been working on, the very thing I've been advocating about. I was like, Jesus, what? Right there, I was already telling these people that, you guys, this is my area of expertise. I'm happy to help you set it up. They were like, oh, wow, send us email. I'm like, no, this thing is mind-blowing. On a whole different level, it's mind-blowing. And I was teaching this at HPS. I was saying it, that there's a way that paradigm shifts. When that shift happens, to begin to see who you are and what that means in terms of where you're supposed to be going next, you'll be surprised how things begin to open in that direction. I've experienced this thing so many times that I know it's true. It makes you not waste effort. Anyway, all the story that I've shared with you before is an inner story. Let me please, many of these are things that I've not shared outside. I don't intend to share probably anytime soon. So keep it inside yourself like this. or I am ready to share myself. So, that is future in your, I'm just saying that out like this. It's just a private thing, but it just came to my heart as a way to share about this on mastery. Because the truth is, these things work. And the funny thing is that, you know what I found out? All of the work I've been doing in DK1 and all of that I was just doing out of my own passion, are the very things that they are doing as actual public policy work. And, I was seeing some of the things that I was like, no, now you guys, I have too much experience. It was mind-blowing for me to realize that some of the things I've been doing that really were just out of passion, when like they are beyond passion, they actually have weight, not just in my eyes, but in the eyes of the people that sometimes I would have wondered if they had more experience than me. Do you understand? Like, there's a way that you can be doing your own thing, your own small corner of the world. You think I'm just doing my own thing. And then you get into the space of people that you look up to, like, they have gone far and all of that. And realize that the things you are doing is the same thing they are doing too. The whole thing is that they are doing it in a more packaged environment. So it makes it look bigger than your own. At the heart of it, people are doing the same thing. Like the kind of realization that have dawned on me in the last couple, and this example I just give you, just one area of my life that this is happening. This is not the only one. My Kende is here, so she knows what I'm talking about. This is not the only one. It's been incredibly mind-blowing for me how I begin to see something. Like, I just begin to see that I'm supposed to be doing this kind of things now. And before I know it, opportunities, I begin to either know where to go and knock, or some of those doors begin to open up themselves. It's not just, I can tell you a number of other examples that sometimes, I'm praying, I'm like, God, wait, what? I know you told me this year was a year of open gates, but this is like, it feels like an avalanche. So many things that I've always known that I wanted to do are just opening up to me on what looks like their own accord. But you see that it's not as if they are not opening magically too. They are opening because there's a sense of the work of mastery going on. Remember, I told you that part of the work of mastery is not just execution, it's visioning first. It's being able to see where you're supposed to be going and then working towards it. I hope that you people, my testimony makes the conversation of mastery make more sense to you. Please let me know in the chat. Yeah, let me know in the chat. What stood out for you from my story? Well, that's the whole point of sharing the story. It's hoping that you're able to pick a lesson from it. What stood out for you from my story? Let me know in the chat, please. I'm also trying to use the opportunity to take water. Right. While I'm waiting for you people chatting, I was also like typing and all. I also keep moving. But I've seen a message already. The direction from God and the prayers, yes. Marvelous, you're tempting me. I have seen how very ridiculous, simple instruction has opened me doors this year. I'm not saying in previous, I've seen it before. I'm saying I can give you a number of examples just this year. Things that sounded silly. Do this. This is mind-blowing. Yes. That's the work of prayer inside this. The work of prayer is to open your eyes to show you where you're supposed to be going. So you are not working like a fool. Yeah, that's what prayer. That's part of the work. It's not the only thing that prayer does, but it's one of the things that prayer does. It opens your eyes so that you are able to see where you're supposed to be going. It shows you where you're supposed to be putting your effort. And sometimes it doesn't mean that because you heard it in prayer, once you put the effort will make it sense. It will make sense immediately. Sometimes you look at it, the effort did not make sense. But the day it will compound for you, you will be shocked. Yes. Capturing your next. Yes. Once you're able to capture your next, you begin to see the things around you that are already set up to put you in your next. It's true. Because every time God creates a garden of Eden for a man to tend, he also puts inside that garden of Eden the resources, the food he needs to eat to be able to do the work. That's the truth. And that's why my mastery sense does not start from what are we doing? What are we doing? People that know me teach about products, know that I say this a lot. Is the half of the work is a work of even seeing and capturing your next properly. You see it, you capture it well, And it really begins it becomes a glowing flame in your heart. It begins to help you see where you're supposed to go. Once you have seen where you're supposed to be, it begins to help you see the things in your resources that were aligned to it. Like, no, this is not even, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. And sometimes God completely breaks protocols in the sense that it's your next. You don't have access to it because it does not exist in your reality. But God just breaks protocol. I'm using that language. I don't like some of these words that I'm using, but let me use it because you are familiar with it. God breaks protocol and make you experience the thing that should not be natural for where you are. Yeah. Even that type, I've already experienced it already this year. When the Lord began to tell me, this is the year you're going to be speaking more, you're going to be doing a lot more speaking. And for people who see my status, there was a day the Lord specifically told me to write about how I'm open to speaking engagement and put it on my status. I remember that day I almost argued because, like, Lord, why do I don't like this kind of thing where you're trying to put yourself out there. I know people say put yourself out there and all of that, but I'm not naturally that kind of person. Like, I would not put, I'm open to speaking. I was like, oh, that's a weird thing. But I've learned not to argue. So I did put it there. That singular thing opened, no, you don't want to know. And just forgot to confirm it to me. There was an email I received recently that I was sharing with some of my my close girls, and I was sharing with them that when I saw the email, I was shocked for a minute. It shocked me to the point that after a couple of days, I began to think it was an error. Because how? How is my school inviting me to come and speak? Like, the thing blew my mind to come and speak to professors in the school. I'm not saying UIL, I'm saying Tufts University in Boston is inviting me to come and speak to professors in the school. Like, I've been trying to figure out who recommended me. So I first saw the mail. I was so before blown away. I was like, no. Later, I was not afraid. Like, maybe they made a mistake. And now that I've not seen the other speaker, I don't even want to feel more. Like, the thing has been blowing my mind that where, how? There's only one person in my head and I'm still wondering, it probably recommended me, but in my head, I'm still wondering, how did she think that? Like, what was she thinking? My co-speaker is the associate dean of the school. Like no, after a while, I literally had imposter syndrome. I shared with some of my people. I was like, by 2 days later, I was wondering that, no, maybe they made a mistake. Maybe it's not me. Sometimes this image, they used to look alike. Because I was like, how? If my advisors were surprised. This is not like, I'm like, God, like, I know you say I'm going to, but I know that these things are in my future, but how did you break this protocol? How? Like, how did you even get to know about my, like, there was so many houses in my head because it was unbelievable. There was nothing I could have done. It should be this one I just talk about energy. I woke up to somebody myself. Who was I going to walk up to? There was nobody I could have even walked up to for that kind of thing. Nobody. Because that's what my next do you understand? My next look like. For the ones that I can walk up to, they guide me to the person to walk up to, they guide me with what to say. The ones I cannot walk up to, they break protocol and ensure that I'm there. It's real. That way, your mastery and the things you do they are not a hazard. They are not throwing things blindly or executing on things that just come to your mind. They are guarded and they are guided. You see how this thing is connected to meaning? Because when you are strong on the sense of a journey that God is taking you on, you know that you are not just trying to do everything or anything that looks nice. You are on a journey. There's a place they are taking you to. So you have to trust the person that is taking you and know what they say is the next stop. Not what you think is next, but what they say is the next stop. Anyway, I spent a lot of time on that. But I think I need to talk about it. Then we talked about money, which is really about understanding that all the resources that you need will come. And remember that we said that money was not just about currency, it was about relationships. I have benefited a lot about relationships. And it's one of the reasons I'm really glad about doing a session on even managing relationships, because I think it's going to be good. And then we talk about marriage. I think it was one of the sessions that many people really found very useful. Particularly, I love the way we did the question and answer. I think it was extremely useful. Basically, when we're talking about service, I think I should stop here. Yeah, I should use this one and I'll stop my sharing here. Basically, when I'm talking about service and multiplication, I need you to know that I'm coming back to what we're talking about earlier now, that the goal is really about humans. Like, it comes down to human lives. And it's a simple thing that sometimes gets lost on us. And I'll explain what I mean by get lost on us. It's a very simple thing, but it can really, really, all right, marvelous. It's a simple thing, a simple truth that might get lost on us. There's a way that you can get caught up in the many aspects of what service might look like for you, because service for you can look differently, right? It can look like what you're doing in your career. Service is just every way you are expressing a sense of mission to the world. What you're doing as career can be social impact. You're writing a book, you're running a business. The ways that you just serve the world. And what I'm trying to say is that there's a way that it can get lost on us that at the heart of everything is really about human beings. It's about human lives. Because we can be lost in the details. How the book is going, if it's written well, if the comma is comma, if the font is good, the font is bad. Like I was just giving the feedback recently about the font type that we're using for the landing page for the summit and all of that. That you might forget that at the end, what really matters is its impact on people. And now, when I'm saying impact on people, I need you to know that it's not just about the impact on the people that you think you are impacting. Please hear that. So, for example, you are running a program. Let's say this kind of mentoring like this, but we're running right? In my head, it can be easy to quickly say, oh, the impact is on you guys that are here. But that's not very true. Or it's not complete. Every human involved in this process is impacted, including me. And when I say every human, our peer mentors are impacted, even if they are not on this call. In fact, all the people that help with the design, Kende, Folake, all those people, Tomisin, they are impacted, even if they don't look like beneficiaries in that sense. However, we go about the actual work impacts them. The business owner might think, oh, I just want to make cake and for the wedding people, and they think that it's the bride and the groom that gets impacted. But the decorator, the person your supplier gets impacted. You know how? The way you talk to that woman in the market while you were buying things, you take easy. They get impacted. So every human in the process is an important part of this. And everything that you're doing and every way you're showing the process of your service is ultimately shaping the humans involved in a particular kind of way. And that's why it can look nice that, oh, you created a wonderful book. But the person, your editor that walked through it, you took the person through air. And you are shaping the person. You are shaping the person into either, I don't know, do you understand? You are shaping them one way or the other. You are contributing to their perspective that aligns with proper thinking, or you are contributing to their perspective that arms their person, that outs their person. Some of you have worked with, some of you have been business owner that work with clients who are also trying to deliver to other people. And your experience with them was almost demeaning to your person. If you have had that kind of experience, you know what I'm talking about. My point is, I need you to keep the human being in your act as you do all of your work of service. And you're asking yourself, how are the human beings, including you, how are the human beings involved in this? Both the ones that look as if they are obviously impacted and the ones that are indirectly impacted. How are they being shaped because of this? Yes, you wrote the book. Wonderful. But what kind of person did you become in the process? Did you become a little bit more of an angry boss? The program went where everybody saw it was nice, but the process of getting it done made you a little bit more of a callous boss, but you did not see it. Made you a little bit of a user, but you did not see it. It's shaping you. What I'm really trying to do, that I'm really trying to establish first, is to put the human being to be focused. And here's where I'm going to stop my share. I need you to pull your sense of the human at the heart of everything that you do into focus. At the heart, the human that are impacted, either directly or indirectly, to focus. Yes, you were trying to do your career, but how is that career impacting on your close relationships? How is that your push for your career impacting on your relationship with, say, for your spouse? And these things are questions that we sometimes forget to ask, because our world has pushed a sense of an idea of impact that is just really about end product. Do you know what I'm talking about? So in our minds, we think that, oh, I wrote the book, I've made impact. Or people who read the book and say the book was wonderful, I've made impact. Yeah, maybe that's a form of impact. But my point is that the impact of that process of service is a lot more wider than that. And I need you to capture that so that you are conscious. So as you are thinking of how you are serving the world, you are asking yourself, however I am doing this, not just what I do, but how I'm doing it, in fact, the people I'm working with through the process, the people that have to deal with me, let me say that way, the people who have to deal with me through the process, how is this thing impacting them? How? You become an angry, easily irritated wife and mother because you're on the big project. And you not realize that your husband and your children are getting impacted by it. They don't look like beneficiary of the book, but somehow they suffer through the process too. That's the point. My goal is to always pull the human beings as your focal point as you are doing this, whatever you are doing. Because whatever you are doing is shaping humans. I'm telling you, it is. It is shaping humans. It is. And that's why this thing I'm saying can be a little bit scary. And I'm saying it nicely. Let me give you an example of how it can be scary. The people, how many of you know I don't know this thing myself. I've only heard my husband talk about it, so I'm giving second level knowledge about it. But how many of you know about this OP, or something like that? What's the name of these people that did the research that was used to eventually create the atomic bomb? How many of you know about the story? That was just a scientific research. People were advancing knowledge. They did not intend that it was going to be used that way. They didn't. But somehow, it got used that way. The question that people will probably ask yourself, the moral question you're asking yourself is that, but it's not their fault. It was not used that way. But the truth is that one way or the other, part of the things that their legacy contributed to do is facilitating something that became destructive. That's something that this thing is very, very, it's tricky. It is. But all my own goal, and like you see by the time I share the video, is to just help you continue to see beyond many of these metrics of what service and impact looks like that have become the mainstream ways that we say them. To have a bit more rigorous, comprehensive view of what the impact of your service really is. If before I came on this call, just because I was trying to rush for this call, I was respectful to my husband, you guys will not know. I hope you know. You will know. In your minds, I've come here, I've impacted you. But the program I've done has also impacted him, but in a negative way. But you guys don't know that. And I can convince myself that the people here by the time you are leaving, you're telling me, oh, thank you so much. And I can convince myself that, oh, I'm saving my word. But the question is, what about the other people involved? Do you understand? And that's why, for example, as an entrepreneur, you have to see how the work that you are doing, the people who are working with you, how these things are also shaping their own lives. You have to pay attention, because the real work is that you are shaping human beings. And the crazy thing about it is that the kind of human beings that you shape multiplies. Your intention to create something, and you are a tech boss, Texas, who is trying to build a company, and the pressure of it all turned you into a touchy and angry boss. And that one also, of course, being a touchy and toxic and angry and, it's kind of ridiculous boss makes you also create people like that. The people that stay there, they absorb part of your toxicity one way or the other. They might not know it until when they also go out. Because whatever get normalized for you, get normalized inside you. It's the reason why people who are hot end up hurting other people too. Because no matter how much you say you don't like it, if you don't pull out of it, you imbibe it too, and you become like it. So, wonderful thing, tech bro, and all of that. And that's why you see all of this news that eventually started to come out. Widely successful people, but they've hurt a lot of real people on the way to that success. Because in their minds, they probably are not seeing that the real impact of their service is not the $1 million companies that they made. It's all of the people who got involved in it. How did it shape them? What contribution did it make to their lives? That's same. That's what I'm really trying to get into your heart. I need you to be conscious of the contribution that you are making to how the people around you, do you understand? The people who are directly or indirectly impacted by the things that you are doing, how you are contributing to how they are shaped. That's all I'm saying here. To be conscious of it. To ask yourself at every point, what kind of person is being shaped? And that question goes for everyone involved, including you. And say, oh yes, I'm doing all of these things, but what kind of person is it shaping me to become? Who am I becoming? Am I becoming less patient? Am I becoming, this I'm saying it and I'm laughing because it's a simple truth. And I want to say something and I'm wondering if I should say it, but let me just do it. And I'm going to say it carefully with a lot of, let me use the Bible word, fear and trepidation. The more you enter into the circle of successful people, and when I'm saying successful, I'm using the name that we have used, most of us use. I'm using that success in the way many of us think of success, right? The society thinks of success. If you truly carry the right values, the more it will make you question what success do to human beings. Please let me know if you understand what I just said. Because in my own personal life, I'm finding that the more I see and realize and have a bit more closer proximity to what some level of success does to some human souls, the more I become, it's not afraid. It's not about the matter of fear. It's a matter of consciousness to really ensure that I'm chasing the right things. I'm saying a lot of things. What are you hearing? I just hope I'm going to be hoping that you understand it. Well, let me ask, what are you hearing? What are you hearing from what I'm saying? I'm looking into the charts. I'm not seeing any message in the chat. What are you hearing? Let me be sure I'm not speaking above your head or anything like that. Because I'm beginning to feel as if I'm using cryptic words. Yep. Favor, you understand what I mean? Yes. The more you get into certain circles, the more you realize that you must protect your core values. See, your life depends on it because it does. Yeah. Okay, I'm saying what Eniola shared. I'm saying what Shem shared. Human beings are impacted, and that human beings include you. In fact, probably you are probably the biggest human being in this conversation, because eventually you will begin to produce whatever kind of person you're also becoming, consciously or unconsciously. And the last thing I'll probably say on this, and what I'm about to say is going to be a little bit, it will sound a little bit counterintuitive, but I like to say it. And you probably hear more explanation of this thing I'm about to say in the video I'm going to share with you, but I want to still say it here and at least start the conversation today. Is this. So on one end, I just spoke about how you need to think about service and impact beyond some of these very easy metrics like numbers, like the people that directly give you feedback, the people that look like the beneficiaries of the things you do, to realize that there's a whole value chain of people already surrounded along the process of getting whatever you're trying to get done and serving however you want to serve. People are directly involved, including you, indirectly involved, including people around you, the kind of person you become while you're trying to get some of those things done. You're already impacting people. And you have to be conscious. And you have to keep asking yourself, am I making the kind of impact that I want to make? This is the kind of things that make, and I'm sorry about this, I'm about to make. This kind of thing that make women, and I'm saying this because I'm talking to women, grow professional ladder, but their children are becoming, I don't even know what to use. They are becoming not like the children they want. Let me say it that way, is the mildest way to say it. They are becoming something else. But the woman is pursuing her career. The father, the mother, they are pursuing their career because they are not realizing that the children are beneficiary of that thing that they are doing. Do you understand? Because the children is not the customer, but they are getting impacted, and you have to be conscious. Is what I'm saying. That's one end. The second end. Yes, I like the way this bird said it. Yes, favor. Absolutely. The second end of what I want to say is this. And I say this a little bit carefully. And please really listen to me, because you need to follow me to hear what I'm saying. As you serve your word in whatever way, your word, the people around you, you do, you find ways to serve, to make a difference. Your word, however you are doing it. Some of you are writing books and things like that. You're running businesses. I want you to watch out not to become servants of it. I'm saying serve without servitude. Let me say it again. Serve without servitude. Don't become slaves of the men that you have been called to serve. And that thing I'm saying is in two ways. And that's where I'm going to end. The first one is this. And I'm saying this from a godly perspective. Is that you need to remember that the person that you really, really answer to, I say serve, not self. SERVE, without servitude. That's what I said, Shubomi. Yeah, thank you for putting that out. I was saying that you need to remember that the person that you are accountable to, first and foremost, the person who is your most important judge. In fact, your literal only judge in the end of it, in the end that matters, is the one who sent you. Serve the men he has called you to. I know the way the scripture said, there's a scripture that I always like to use to say about myself, and I copy it directly from something that the scripture says about King David. And it was said in Acts when Peter was talking about it. He said David served his own generation by the will of God. That's one of the what I say about myself. The Lord served our generation by the will of God. My point is, serve your generation without becoming a servant of your generation. Serve the people God has called you to without getting into servitude to the people God has called you to. And the question you be asking me is, how do you get into servitude? You get into servitude when men's judgment begins to become the important thing. And that judgment can either be criticism or praise. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It can be praise, it can be criticism. We say this thing easily for criticism, but we don't say it for praise. You know, you say all this kind, they don't care what people say about you. Just do your thing, do your thing. But we don't say do your thing when people are healing you. Serve without becoming slaves of men. And there are easy ways that we become slaves like this. And it grows on the best of us. And this is what I'm saying. It will take God to continue to show you how not to fall into the trap or how to rescue you when you already fall into it. Something that God taught me last year. Was it last year? Or at least he actively began to require, maybe like 2 years ago, but it became a big deal for me last year. Yeah, at least in the last 2 years. Is the idea of most of my work that I do like this, I get feedbacks and all of that. And one of the things that God started to teach me was not to care about the feedback. Not because I don't care about what you are saying. I love you. I love the things you want to say to me. But to remind me that you can tell me I've done well, but the real person who's done well matter is not you. Even though it's you I'm serving. Do you understand? So as I'm doing this, I am serving and impacting you. But I'm learning that the important way to not be in servitude to you is to know that as much as you guys are going to tell me, oh, this was great, to know that your great is wonderful, but I can't stay there. I can't let it get to me. I have to keep myself in a place where either you say it was great or you say it was bad. It matters not so much in the end of the day. It's a tricky thing. Especially because we're in a generation that likes the idea of praise. We use praise to validate our sense of service, particularly praise. Yes, criticism too is there, but I feel like the criticism one, all of us, we are easily more, maybe depending, but we talk more about how you should not allow people's criticism to hold you back from what God has called you to. But we don't tell people that praise can hold you back from what God has called you to. Yes, it can. What I'm saying is, there's a way, by the time you watch the video, there was a quote that I shared in the video of last year, where the person was saying, serve the work, let the work serve the people. I love it so much because I realized that in the end, when I stand before God and for him to appraise this work, what I will show him is not that Favor said it was great. You don't get it. What will matter is, did I pour myself into the work the way the Lord sent me to? Did I do what I was told? Did I do it the way I was told? That will be what matters in the end. Yes, it's amazing that you think it's great. And yes, I'll be aware of the fact that, and that's why this work is what I'm saying is a very spiritual work, to be honest. But I just need you to put it in your consciousness. And you know what? I started to say this, particularly from last forward, is because I was seeing a lot of a whole generation that have been raised to validate their call, their sense of service on the back of people's praise. We are so, and I say this, I'm young, I'm just in my 30s, right? But in the last 10 years, there's been a real shift from the way that people take the matter of somebody saying that they are doing well. Like there's just been a shift. It's the reason why sometimes I see some things on social media that I'm like, it was a private conversation. Why did you feel the need to post it? You did a program, every single person that came to your DM to say it was great, you appreciate your status. Why was that compulsion to convince people that the things you are doing is great? We can convince ourselves with plenty names and say is this, is that, but at the heart of it, we are in servitude to the things that we are doing for service. And it's the reason when those things shift a bit, we lost our sense of purpose, our sense of identity get lost. Because they were rooted not just in those things, but in the perception that they give us in the heart of men, especially the men who participate within the things that we said. Remember, the work is not your menu. The things that you serve, they are not even your menu. Yes. The some of what I'm saying is serve. And what I'm saying is it can be tricky. If you're like a business owner, who of course you need feedback and all of that. The question is, what does that mean for you, right? I'll leave you to go and answer that. Because I don't even think it's an answer that I need to give you. This is part of the way the Holy Spirit opens your understanding some of these things. It's just something to go and think about. To ensure that the ways in which you are called to serve do not become cords of servitude for your life. Where you continue to feel like you have to be a certain way, show a certain way, do a certain things because the ways that you have been called to serve, you need to keep a certain kind of appearance in the heart of the people you have been called to serve. Does that make sense? This thing I'm saying is a real thing. It's a big temptation. And I'm not saying it standing from afar, trying to talk as if it doesn't affect me. No. I'm saying it especially because I know it firsthand. Because I know it firsthand. And like someone was asking, what's the reverse case? The reverse case is if what is happening in your own situation is that you are not getting any validation. Some of you are going to be called to serve people and serve in context and serve within situations that will not give you glamour. And that's why this whole serve without servitude becomes important. Because you need to know that the most important thing is that you have done what they sent you. It's not what perception it gives in the minds of people, including the people you are sent to. Yes, you are human, you see what they are saying, but it has to be secondary to the point that it no longer matters. Like I was saying, one of the things that God taught me last year. And it wasn't last year, but I keep remembering last year because there was a particular thing that I did that was a major way that God made me practice that thing. It was my HPS of last year, not even this year, last year. I remember finishing that day, and Lord was telling me, it was obvious, even before I went on the session, Lord was already telling me, I need to put your heart in a place where it will not matter what these people tell you about how great it went or how not great it went. What will matter the most to you is that you did what I told you. You said it the way I told you to say it. And you were true to the design. It's nice to say that like this, but it's not that easy, trust me. All of us like the sense of feeling as I will have spoken for 6 hours and you are telling me not to care that somebody should be, not to care that nobody entered my DM to say, wow, that was so great. Or not to care that somebody did. No, it's not easy. There has to be a way that you pray your own heart out of that slavery. But I'm telling you that is slavery. Yeah. It will keep you, I'm telling you, it will keep you in servitude to the people you are called to serve. Serve the work that God has given you. Let God use the work to serve the people. Don't serve. Do you understand? Don't become servants of the people. So one of the big thing. You know, this one, these issues that happen to someone like what's his name in the scriptures? There's a scripture that kept my heart now and has left. I don't know. I don't think it was Moses or someone else. For some reason, someone who, oh yes. It was Saul that came to my mind. Part of the biggest thing that led to his downfall was that he cared so much about what his people thought about him and about the things he was doing. And you will see it by the time Samuel eventually came. He had done wrong. Samuel came, and Samuel was already telling him things like, they have collected the kingdom here. And his response was, don't disgrace me in front of these people. At least still follow me outside. Don't let it look as if we are fighting. And it's easy to think that he was a bad person, but it was not. He's an example of the best of us. Become a slave to the work and the way of service that God has put in your hands. And that's the reason why many of us will go through seasons where God will rescue you. And that's the word I'm supposed to use. It's rescue. Rescue you from the things he has sent you to do because you're already becoming a slave to it. He will rescue you from it. Either by crashing it, all of a sudden the things you always do is not working anymore, or by completely shutting things down in your hands. Yeah. So that you are forced back into the wilderness to relearn that thing that Deuteronomy was saying, that you learn that man shall not live by bread alone. Bread can either be people's praise or their criticism, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. I explained a bit more in the video that we're going to share with you. Hopefully, we have other questions. It's going to be silent. Let me bring this to a close tonight. Do I have any question in the house? Or is this my way of saying goodbye on our modules? I think we're supposed to have like a family meeting, which hopefully I'm going to be a part of. Yeah. Yeah, Tommy, that's exactly how I feel, like that emotional thing. This last call always gets me very emotional because I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to see my people again in a while. Shubumi, I see your answer. Please, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma. Concerning the part of the business way of getting reviews. I believe, according to the way business people run it, they feel that is necessary, is ideal for business growth. The part of getting feedbacks, getting review, as that will enable you to grow, but it is needed. But now you saying it that you don't want to answer it, ma, please, can you answer it? Because immediately you mentioned it, that was where my mind went to the business part. Exactly. That is not.
I see.
It's not that I I will base the entirety of the
Don't
business
worry,
growth on it, but it's needed. It is essential.
I already
So
understand
I
you.
want to know the balance. Yes, the balance.
I think the issue is balance. The issue is that I need you to hear what I'm really saying.
Ma, I also have question in line with it. Maybe we should just answer the two together.
Okay, no problem. Let me hear your story.
Okay, my own is not even about business, it's about personal review. Like, I'm just using myself as an example. Most of the time, I love hearing people feedback about me or what I'm doing currently. But you're now saying the other way around. So I want you to shed much more light about this, please.
Good question. So I'm glad you guys asked this question because it showed me that the problem with language is that two things, we use the same word to mean different things. And that's the downside of language. My issue is not telling you not to get feedback from people, even for personal growth. For crying out loud, at the beginning of this session, what was I getting from you guys? Was it not feedback? Was feedback?
Yes, ma'am.
Say to you. It's not, don't do. In fact, there was a time I was doing like a personal review and I did a Google sheet to share with friends to just give a sense of how they think about me and all of that. And that was because I was trying to see patterns, to see, are there things that are blind side? And do you understand that, like blind spot for me that I'll probably see across patterns that probably have, or I know them, I didn't just know they were that serious and things like that. The issue here is not feedback. If you don't even get feedback, how are you going to grow? What I'm trying to say is a little bit different from that, even though I'm using the same language. What I'm trying to say is this, is to understand that the art of, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Let me say it the way God said it to me last year when I was doing HPS. Maybe this will help me, the simple way of saying it. Because we still got feedback now. We still put feedback when we're trying to do this year from last year's old. The way the Lord said it to me is that your sense of affirmation, approval, and true judgment of what this thing really meant cannot come from the people. Does that make a sense? Does that make a sense, a difference? Please let me know if you get the difference now. Or do you want me to say it again? Yeah. Your sense of affirmation, approval, and a clear judgment of what you have done means cannot truly come from the people. So the idea is that, it's like I said, that they are not the full judges of these things. That in the end, it is not just that they think it is great, it's that God thinks he hits the mark he sent me to it in the first place. Because there are things that you can do that might look great, or you have veered off what they sent you. One of these, let me use the word scariest story in the Bible for me, it's usually that story of Moses at the rock, where they told him to speak to the rock, and what did he do? He hit the rock. If you're a Bible student, when he hit the rock, what did the Bible say happened? Any Bible student here? Any Bible student, when he hit the rock, what did the Bible say happened? I don't have Bible students, it's fine. The Bible says water came out abundantly. NKJV wrote abundantly, yes. Gushed out abundantly, yes. In fact, that word I want to use to make me, it's a very scary thing. So it satisfied the people. But that became the only reason why I didn't enter the promised land. So if we're using, do you see what I'm trying to say here? The issue is not, don't, of course, you're a business owner, you want to know what your people are thinking and all of that, but you need to understand that if you are building, if this is a service that is coming from a sense of meaning that God has sent you, your sense of, first of all, your sense of affirmation of that you are doing well, this is the right thing, your sense of validation, this is what you're supposed to be doing, cannot come from them, even when they are telling you well done. Their well done has to be secondary to God's will. Like what the point is that whatever people think, including people you serve, think about what you do, is great, but it's still secondary to the one that sent you. Yeah. I'm saying the way Adenusola said it, something like that. I know the truth of how quality service was. Only God can determine that. Yes, exactly. There's something like that too. What I'm trying to put in your heart is to enter a place where you know that service is first and foremost about the one who has called you to serve. Yoruba way of saying that is, Yoruba used to say, ẹni tó bá rán wa ńṣẹ́ la máa ń bẹ̀rù. A kì í bẹ̀rù tá máa lọ jẹ fún. Do you understand? So it's like a king sent you on an errand to go and meet a chief, and the chief told you well done, and you thought because the chief have already told you well done, that's okay, you have done well. Your mom sent you to go and meet a friend, and your mom's friend told you, oh, you did well, and you think just that is enough. The primary person whose opinion is the most important, it's not the person they sent you to, it's the person that sent you. Yes, that's some of what I'm trying to say. And it's important to say it that way because you have to pull I'm saying that there's a generational pull where human approval is equated in our minds to God's will. So we automatically think you did the program, everybody said it was great, impacted their life so well. You automatically think that itself is evidence that God was pleased with you too. Do you understand? And we do it subtly. It's the language that you hear it. Unless God pay attention to you, do. So you don't even know how to go back to ask God questions. Like, Lord, people have said it was great, but what do you really think? We assume the validation and affirmation, usually from mental. That's what I'm saying. Our minds doesn't go above that because we put it side by side. We say, once you see human being telling you are doing great, you automatically assume it already means God is also telling me you are doing great. That assumption is what I'm trying to break. That, yeah, there are times human beings are telling you you are doing great, and God's also telling you the same. But the one you need to hold on to is not the human soul. There are times human beings are telling you you are doing great, but the one that sent you is telling you you are veered off. There are times human beings are telling you you are not doing great, but the one who sent you is telling you you have done the right thing. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to use a scripture. 1 Corinthians 7:23. It says you have been bought with a price. Do not become the slaves of men. Is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't become a slave of men's approval. Don't become a slave of their criticism. Don't become a slave of men's applause. Don't become a slave of their criticism. Don't become, do you understand? That's what I'm trying to say. By all means, they are your clients. Get feedback from them. Or understand that if you are saying that this business is the way that God called you to serve the world, and it's not just about, if you know that all you are doing is you are trying to make money, so you are trying to align with whatever is in people's hearts, it's fine. It's fine. Do you understand? It's fine. If whoever you are trying to serve, really serve them. If these are people, anything they are telling you is good is what you continue to do. But if it is God, when people tell you it's good, you can't stop there. It's my point. You can't. There are times people are telling you that what you are doing is not good. You're making clothes. You don't make certain kind of design because you don't think it's proper, it's modest. And people are telling you, maybe you have just been too religious, you are being judgmental and all of that. But the one who sent you to do, you are doing well. Stay there, is my point. I remember when I was baking cake. Some guys came to go out with me one time. I made cake for them, on chocolate cake. They loved it so much. And then they came back again and then they wanted to make cake with me. And we had already finished talking. I've told them the price, we sort of, I was doing masters. And then the person who had reached out on behalf of the group, because I wanted to do it for a celebration, then said, oh, when I'm doing the cake, they would like me to help them add something to it. I'm like, what do you mean by add something? I'm like, are you going to give me material? I don't use material from outside. I source my own material. If I get material from people I'm sending, the taste will always be different. So I was like, well, it's not anything, it's just something small. We just want it to be inside the cake. It took me a while for me to realize that what the guy was talking about was weed. That's how you know that I was so naive. It took me a while to realize that he was talking about weed. He wanted me to add weed to the cake. And I insisted that I don't do that. I don't. I'm fine if you guys are not going to do it. If I am going to do the cake, I am going to do the cake. The cake you will collect out of my hands. I not have that. After I put it in your hands, whatever you do with it is no longer in my care. If you're able to put it inside by yourself, whatever you do with it after that point, but the one that I will put in your hands, I not have it. And I knew it meant that he might say that I was not doing again, but I was ready to take that risk. It was not even a risk in my head. Like, your money is not, yes, I want the money, quite all right, but it's not as important as doing what I knew will not violate my own conscience. Do you understand? I'm using that as a weird example. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily even happen that way. What I'm saying is that I need you to have a stronger, especially with a service, and we are going back now to the matter of meaning and your journey with God and all of that. There's a way you must approach service where the sender and his opinions are first and foremost above every other person's own, including the person you are sent to, regardless of what they are saying about it. Does that clarify it a bit, please? Does it clarify it now? Let me be sure. Help me, guys. Help me, guys. I need to be out of this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So the issue is not about feedback. The issue is, where does your primary sense of validation come from? Yeah. I know part of the reason why you are going to need this thing. There's another reason why you will need it. And I don't know if I should talk about that. Let me talk about it for a second. Part of the reason why you're also going to need this thing is, if you are tied in servitude to men, there will be certain things God will never be able to send you. And I'm not saying this because God does not want to send you, but you will never have the spine, the needed courage to do them. You don't get me. Because some things we need you to look countercultural, even to the circles of even believers that you have grown around. Yes. There will be pathways they will lead you on, that some of the most important voices in your life will not understand at first. They won't. One of the reasons why, over the years, I think, I'm not sure, but I can say this. I think my mom has come to, she has always allowed us to have independence, right from the time she the way I even believe, people already know that I was grown with independence. But of course, she's still a mother. She's still, she still needs to ask questions and things like that. But one of the reasons why I think, I might be wrong, but I sometimes think it's just my own watching of pattern, I think might have contributed to me entering a place in my relationship with my mom where I can do crazy things with very little questions from her. It's because over the years, She has seen me. I'm going to use the word defy, not as if I'm defying authority, but defy common sense to go in the direction that God sent me. It's not once. She has seen me just have a strong sense that this is what the Lord told me to do. And the more I pray about it again and again, I am still coming here. It may not make sense to everybody, but I am going to stay here. And she's not saying I'm saying it with annoyance. I'm saying it shivering. You can see that me myself, I'm afraid of it. But I am convinced in my heart that I cannot shift from it. I rejected a scholarship, a fully funded scholarship to go and do masters in South Africa in 2015. At the time, I had nothing else that I was going back to because I just entered a place where I knew was the wrong move. They had given me the scholarship already. Everybody thought I was mad. They were asking me, so if you now let the scholarship go, what will you go and do? I'll tell them I don't know. And I really did not know. I really didn't know. It's not as if my mother had any. Do you know what a big break it was that I even got a scholarship? My first 100, my first year's school fees, my 100 level school fees, how much was it? Maybe 30-something thousand. We went to borrow it. That was how much you can give you a sense of the kind of family I came from. Then you go to a scholarship, you say you are not going. Fully funded with stipend to South Africa. And it's not as if you have any other thing that you say, okay, maybe you have a better option. I had nothing. But every time I prayed, I came again and again. Okay. I came again and again to the point where I knew that's not what I was supposed to do. I just, the more I prayed, the stronger that sense that I was not supposed to go to South Africa became. Initially, I was even thinking maybe I was afraid to go abroad, but after a while, it was not about, it was that, no, I'm not supposed to do this. Everybody, the kind of thing that this thing cost me. Everybody thought I was mad. People were calling me from UI. See, I remember one person called me and told me, I will say it in Yoruba because he said this in Yoruba. I can never forget. He said, to him, Mugoku will reject scholarship. That's what he told me. An elderly man. Over the years, and she has seen that one way or the other, God eventually proves that how do I say it? God honors my obedience. So over the years, it has made it easier to do crazy things. You understand? It has made it easier to do crazy things that she has seen over the years that I'm convinced about. Now I'm going to start one foundation. I didn't have a job. You mean you want to go and be pouring your entire energy and life into something that will not give you money? We're supposed to be using that time to be looking for a job. But nobody in my house questioned it. Nobody. Because they knew that many of these decisions, I don't make them lightly. That I have been committed to a strong sense, to a strong set of guidance. I've been committed to a very strong sense of guidance. So it makes my journey a lot easier. Let me end there. Let me end there. All right, guys, this has been great. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's go. Go. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I think the days that was agreed for the family meeting is 7th of March, right? I'm going to see you guys there. Hopefully you can come in with questions. We'll talk more about the summit there. Yes, I'm going to have a glass of cold water. Cold water, not juice. I'm running away from sugar. My sugar intake has drastically reduced over the last couple of years. So water is good for me. Thank you. I had a lovely time tonight. And yes, this is supposed to be like my wrapping up talk too. Thank you, you guys. This has been such an amazing session. You guys have been wonderful sport. Thank you for seeing this to the end. I genuinely love and appreciate you guys. And trust me, the thing about Emerging Circle is that we're going to continue to be together. Our journey intertwines from here and it continues to intertwine. So I eventually get to do things with people in Emerging Circle. So the things you guys get to know about the things I'm doing, you probably get to know about it earlier than others. And of course, opportunities to also work with me sometimes and things like that. I'll definitely let you know. We'll talk more about this and what our relationship post this mentorship will look like when we meet for the family meeting on March 7th. But before then, please go ahead and look forward to more information about the summit. Please remember that the summit is really your graduation. So it's really your own event. And so we are going to be having you guys take up roles in terms of managing the project management of the summit and things like that. Once we've confirmed with our speakers and we get, all we are going to do is do the landing page and get the flyer ready. The reason I'm saying like this is because the switch of the fan around me. We're going to get all of the things that we need ready on our hand, and then we'll take, yes, we look forward to it, yes. And please, yes, you guys are going to help us, like, take up rules within the work of, literally, it's always the program of the people that are graduating. But yes, we'll give you more information. Have a wonderful night. Good night. Thank you. Bye.